On April 8th, 2026, Pokémon Champions released for the Nintendo Switch, and like the Vikings upon Roman settlements, it plundered the community, stealing our silver and burning our posts. Or so you would think if YouTube thumbnails were anything to go by. I would like to say that I've never seen a game go from universal hype to universal hate upon release before. But I'm a Pokémon fan. That's an annual event for us every year. Sometimes even twice if we're lucky. But what is it about this game that's gotten me to grip my mic and start throwing out opinions at you like Dragapult and its offspring? Well, the reasons I make this video are twofold. Number 1, high expectations. I was excited for this game. That was until Cerebi reported that it was not going to feature every Pokémon like I was really expecting. That made my excitement for the game drop off. But then I had a moment of clarity. That shouldn't turn me away from the game. If anything, it should make me more firm and critical, and expect the utmost quality in this Pokémon battle simulator. And reason number 2, I was charged for Pokémon Home for another year on the exact same day I tried to cancel it, and since this game has home integration, I figured that I might as well try and get my rightful worth out of the money taken from me. Maybe that's on me though for not cancelling my home subscription sooner, but what's done is done. First of all, this video isn't going to be a full extensive review of the game, more so my on the pulse thoughts based on what I've played so far. And second of all, I'll structure this by going over the things I enjoy and then the things I took issue with. Sort of like a top 5 best and top 5 worst things. They won't be in any specific order, I just think this is the best way to structure the video. What are my first impressions of Pokémon Champions? To start off, why don't we go over something positive? The models used in this game are pretty well polished. The humans look decent and the Pokémon during combat are rather vibrant. Much like Legend ZA, they've ditched the anime style models, or realistic textures, and gone with this colourful, yet sleek appearance, which I think works well for the series. What I will say, however, is that they could have saved some polygons for the crowd in the background. In the dojo battles is where it's most egregious. But I swear the people in the back cheering all looked like they were rendered on Nintendo 64s. On the topic of presentation, this segues perfectly into my first real issue with the game, the animations. They are hardly a step up from where we were 7 years ago. Holy cow, Sword and Shield was that long ago? Like, what? I expect better from a literal battle simulator. I can understand why a game like Scarlet and Violet or Legends Arceus had mediocre battle animations, to an extent of course, since they have a complete RPG attached to them. But this? This here? Your Battle Revolution Stadium equivalent? Like I mentioned at the start, reducing the Pokémon roster and cutting the moves made me think that we were going to see some actual improvements here in the presentation, except they did the bare minimum. Now I know this game is a free download, and maybe it's too much to expect this type of improvement from a release like this. However, I think that line of reasoning should get thrown out the window the moment you realise that there are in-game purchases here. But more on that later. Before we move on, I just want to ask, why do we not have a host of different battle arenas to fight in? The Pokémon franchise is home to a plethora of neat locations where all sorts of battles could take place. I don't always want to just be stuck in this generic arena. Something great that I'd love to draw your attention towards is how this game makes competitive Pokémon far more accessible for the average Joe like me who sucks at Pokémon battling in any sort of format harder than the champion of the region in-game. Legit, I could use one of my playthrough teams here, train them up a little bit, and then do somewhat well, even in ranked. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but what I believe they've done is max out every Pokemon's IVs, removing the stupid randomness factor that's always turned competitive Pokemon from fun to gambling, and turned it into something far more streamlined, far more accessible, and just far more fun. The next thing I wish to talk about harkens back to issues regarding battles. I have mixed views on the ways in which combat is handled in Champions. On the one hand, I find it baffling how little time you actually have to make decisions during your turn. This became particularly an issue during the double battles, and the timer only led to me making more hasty move choices because I'd begun to panic that I was running out of time. Then another thing, I don't know if it's just me, but I couldn't seem to find any options for 6v6 battles, be it in ranked or casual play online. That's the best sort of battle, and yet I find its seeming absence rather odd. Despite that, the gameplay is highly addictive, always making me itch for just one more battle. This isn't something I can necessarily praise Champions for, since it's not like this type of battle was made for this game or anything. That credit belongs to this little guy here. I adore, however, the choice to include almost all of the classic trainer battle music from across the main series. Finally, I can use a Heliolisk while rocking out to the Johto battle theme. Hopefully they add more real soon, because you best believe I'm buying them as soon as they become available. At the start of the video, I alluded to the fact that I initially imagined Pokémon Champions to be a game that would include every Pokémon in it, and act as a de facto Pokémon battling package. And yes, I was shook when it turned out that this wasn't the case, and it wasn't like they only cut just the not fully evolved guys, but so many regular normal Pokémon. Some of these omissions are beyond me, and I swear that they took a look at my personal favourites when putting together who would get the axe. No Sandslash, no Exeggutor, no Blaziken, no Sceptile, no Rabombi, or Kilowattrel in sight. And not even all of the non-legendary Mega Pokémon are here either. That's what I find the most strange out of all of this. Though I am somewhat hopeful that eventually in due time, we'll see every Pokémon show up. Well, every fully evolved Pokémon at least. Though I wouldn't count on that happening for a very long time. As we approach the end of my thoughts, I will get onto the most hot topics surrounding this game. But before I do, I'd like to talk about something else that I quite enjoy about Champions, and that would be the daily challenges found in the game. I like that it gives you something to accomplish during your battles, and it's a great way to earn VP, which you'll need if you want to buy the various items in the battle shop. The best part about the achievements are the Pokémon ones, which centre around using a specific species of Pokémon. Each Pokémon that's present in the game has a page, and using them enough allows you to apply a special title for your profile. Neat stuff overall. Right, I suppose there's no avoiding it now. It's time that we talked about the elephant in the room. Or I would, but Donphan was cut from this game too. Regardless, how about that monetization? I'll admit that I'm fairly neutral on the Battle Pass side of Champions. However, it does mean that I will be expecting a higher bar of quality for the product as a whole. So ultimately, it does drag down what would be a fun little battle simulator. And that's not to say that I'm against having a Battle Pass. I love a good Battle Pass. However, the content inside this one is super not worth it in my eyes. Anybody who's buying that, I'm sorry to say, but I think you're wasting your money big time. But go off, I guess. I just don't think a Battle Pass module suits the style of game Pokemon is. Is that a hot take? It shouldn't be if it is. I should have known where this game's priorities lie. From the moment you boot up the game, right there in your face is the expansion pass. Oh well, at least the fashioning game is good. You get a solid amount of gym wear and other appropriate pieces of clothing for the setting of the game. Though I would appreciate if we got to wear some more casual and fancy wear. Protagonist outfits from the main series could rock actually. You know, like Pokemon Go has. All in all, there is potential here. I can imagine that they'll update the game to artificially extend its life, at least until the inevitable Winds and Waves expansion. But until then, I can only imagine the sorts of seasons we could expect to see, like a return of Z-moves, or terrestrialization. Something tells me we'll get a Dynamax season with the current emissions of the Galar starters being the biggest telltale sign for that. Part of me dreams of a format where we'll see all four of the battle gimmicks combined into one chaotic frenzy, just for fun. But I doubt that's something we'll see from Champions, even down the line. Besides, this is all speculation. I can only really speak for what I see currently. It does make me a little worried about the future of the franchise. Could a game like this mean an end to traditional battles in future Pokemon titles in favour of a more Legend ZA style of combat? Surely not. I didn't mind ZA's battle system, but I thought that's why they made a Legend sub-series in the first place, to keep them separate from the main games. Oh well, only time will tell. What do you think of Pokémon Champions? Let me know in the comments section. As for me, I'm going to be shiny hunting some Pokémon to add to my Champions team. Oh, and speaking of teams, I'm going to issue a little challenge for you guys. Throughout this video, my footage showed a team that I used in an old video on this channel. The first person to comment the origin of this team that I was using will get a special shout out in the next video. So, happy hunting!